Next is the unearned income. So there are two ways on how to adjust this one. Two ways ba to siya? We have the liability and then you have the income. Okay, that's right. So there are two ways. It depends what is your initial entry. Okay? Muna siya liability method na siya income method. So depende siya sa iyahang initial entry. So again, the unearned revenue is advance collection from the customer. So na dawat na nato ang money pero wala pa ta naka-perform sa service. Other terms for this one will be the advances from customers and the deferred income. So at the end of the period, unearned revenues must be checked and adjusted if necessary. The adjusting entry depends on the initial entry. Okay? That's why naata diri liability method and naatay income method. So liability method is the one way on how to make the adjustment if the initial entry, okay, if the initial entry was recorded initially using a liability or it is recorded as a liability. For example, on March 5, ABC Company made a 30,000 advance collections from its customer. So that's on March 5. Nakadawat siya og 30,000 advance. So nadawat na niya ang money not yet performed as of March 5. As of day 1, wala pa gina siya largo na perform. The transaction is recorded using liability method. Okay? So meaning, pagdawat niya sa money, ang ihang gi-credit kay liability. So therefore, the entry at the occurrence sa transaction, pagkahitabo sa transaction on March 5, so debit siya cash and nag-credit siya unearned service income. And unearned service income is a liability. Okay? So that's to record the advance collection from customers. That's 30,000. So at the end of the year, you have to take note if there are portions of the advance collection that were already performed. Kay kung 'di ba na-perform na ang service, mahimo na siyang income. So for example, assume that at the end of the period, 25% of the services have been performed. So meaning, 25% ani kay income na. So how much is 25% nga na-perform? So 25% is 25 times 30, that's 7,500. So recognize the income. So credit service income, that's 7,500. And para di magibog, igura nimo i-close tong na-credit pag niagi or i-debit nimo katong gi-credit pag niagi. Di ba gi-credit man ang unearned service income, so imo na siyang i-debit sa adjusting entry. Balihon ra nimo na siya. Dili pwedeng nga parehas sila nga credit pag niagi unya i-credit na sad nimo karon sa adjusting entry ngaron dili man kay ma-add-on na siya. So kung gi-credit siya last time, so kinahanglan nimo siyang i-debit sa adjusting entry. Okay? So in effect, ang 30,000 nimo nga unearned service income, di ba? Naman tay unearned service income. Okay, sa magi. Okay, natay 30 nga unearned service income. Ay, hindi mo agi. Okay, so naaman tayo 30. Doon sa man siya. 30,000 nga unearned service income. Nag-debit man ta, so nag-debit og 7,000. Di ba klaro akong agi noon sa bani? Okay, so therefore, ma-minus na sila. Diba? Sa makuan. So, you get the difference that is 30,000 minus 7,500. That would be 22,500. So 22,500 ang nabilin nga unearned service income. Okay? Next would be using income method. So if it's income method, meaning sa initial entry niya, income ang gi-record. So, balik taad tong same example on March 5, 30,000 ang na-receive nga money, 25% gihapon ang na-earned. So, mag-debit ta og cash. So, ani na siya mag-differ sa service income. So, ang credit last time kay liability method man siya. So, unearned service income, di ba? Pag unearned, that's a liability. Then this time, kay ang gi-credit nato kay income, so that is income method. What would be the adjusting entry? We already know nga 25% ang na-earned and 25% sa 30,000 kay 7,500. Okay? Since na recognize naman nato ang service income, and the real, pila man ang tinuod nga service income, di ba na-compute naman to nato, that's 7,500, ba? The real service income is 7,500, but based on records as of March 5, it is still 30,000 sa atong libro, which is not correct, right? Dili siya sakto nganuman kay 7,500 dapat ang balance sa service income. So unsaon man nato na siya para mahimo siyang 7,500. So para ma 7,500 siya kinahanglan natong kuhaan. Pila man dapat ang i-minus para ang ending mahimo na lang siyang 7,500. So you get the difference, 30,000 minus 7,500, that's 22,500. So we need to reduce this 30,000 by 22,500 para ang ending niya nga balance is 7,500, which is 25% of the 30,000, and remember 25% is the earned portion. That's why in our entry on December 31 nagdebit og service income, because in effect, di ba? In effect is ma-reduce or ma-deduction na ni siya by 22,500. So, ang mahimong balance ato ang service income would be 7,500. And unsa man ang paris niya, ma'am? So, ang paris sa service income is katong unearned service income. Mas gani magama na ta sa adjusting entry. So, this is to recognize that there is still 22,500 which is not yet earned, equivalent to the remaining 75% aning 30,000. Then we have the prepaid expenses. So kung ganiha naatay nagamit pero wa ta kabayad, or naatay na dawat nga money pero wala pa nato na perform, kani siya advance nga payment. Okay? Advance nga payment ang prepaid expenses. Okay? So, kita may nakabayad. So, represents payments for expenses which have not yet been incurred. So, there are two ways on how you initially record the prepayments. So, naatay asset method and naatay expense method. Example, on May 4, a company purchased office supplies worth 20,000 for cash. The office supplies are recorded as assets. So therefore, asset method ang gigamit. So debit office supplies and you credit cash. So office supplies is an asset account. So that's why it's asset method. So that's 20,000. On December 31, you need to determine if there is a portion of those office supplies nga nagamit. Kaya kung nagamit na ang office supplies, it becomes an office supplies expense. It becomes an expense. So, assuming that 60% of the supplies have been used. Thus, out of the 20,000, 12,000 worth of supplies has been used and therefore must be recognized as an expense. So, what would be your entry? So, that's 60% of the 20,000. So, you recognize the expense, office supplies expense, 12,000, and credit office supplies. So, simply you credit i-credit nimo ang office supplies kay gidebit man siya diri. Okay? So, gidebit man siya. So, para makuhaan, so ato siyang i-credit. And you recognize the expense. If initially, gi-record na nila as an expense, so ang entry nila would be office supplies with the word expense. And you credit cash since this is a prepayment. Again, if 60% has been used, therefore, the correct expense is 12,000. Diba? But remember, since as of May 4, wala naman tayo entries nga gigama. So, per record, ang nakalista dito is 20,000 pagihapon ang atoang office supplies expense, which is not true. Nang dili man siya tinuod kay pila na laman ang nahabilin. Only 60% ang nagamit, so ang nabili na lang kay 40%. So dili tinuod nga ang tibuok nga expense is 20,000 kay dili man tanan ang nagamit. Pila raman ang nagamit? Only 60%, which is equivalent to 12,000 pesos. Okay? So, unsaon man nato siya para ang ending aning office supplies expense mahimong 12,000 pesos. So, kinahanglan nato siyang kuhaan. Okay? So, 20,000, kuhaan ni mog certain nga amount para ang mabilin is 12,000. So, pila may dapat natong i-adjust para ang ending ani expense kay 12,000. So, kuhaan ni mo og 8,000. So, para makuhaan si office supplies expense, kinahanglan nato siyang i-credit. So, pila man ang i-credit nato? Ang i-credit kay 8,000. In effect, 20,000 nga debit o 8,000 nga credit, ang mabili na lang kay 12,000 nga debit, which is the correct expense at the end of the year. Nganong correct nga expense? Because it is the 60% of the 20,000 pesos. And you recognize the asset nga portion katong wala pa nagamit, which is equivalent to 8,000. Okay? If you like this video, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be updated with the latest video lessons. Thank you for watching.